So thank you for spending your afternoon with us and supporting the Media Literacy Project and our many, many friends and allies that are here. We're fighting to ensure that New Mexico is not left behind in the digital divide. We also stand with the Media Action Grassroots Network. Today, hundreds of organizations across the country are participating in this National Day of Action as we show our love for broadband.
For 20 years, Media Literacy Project has been transforming everyday people into critical media consumers and engaged media justice advocates. Founded in 1993, Media Literacy Project delivers dynamic multimedia presentations at conferences, workshops, and in classrooms across the globe.
And so when I started teaching the kids, I rapidly discovered that they did not know how television manipulated them and how all media were manipulating their thoughts and their emotional responses to what they were seeing. So instead of teaching just production, I realized I had to teach them how to get the kind of results they wanted in their audience. So one of the professors at Harvard contacted me and said, "Do you know what you're doing? Do you know that you are doing media literacy?"
The impressive growth of Media Literacy Project's curricula and programming has garnered an international reach that has surpassed the expectations of its founders.
The original idea was to train teachers, K through 12 teachers, who would then go back to their schools. Now what has happened instead is that there's a more central training location in Albuquerque, and teachers come from all over the country. I couldn't be happier with what happened after I turned the project over.
For 20 years, Media Literacy Project has been located on the campus of Albuquerque Academy. Albuquerque Academy has a philosophy that children's lives change when their natural passion for learning is nurtured and transformed into habits of lifelong learning and reflection.
The mission of Albuquerque Academy is about education. It's about outreach to the community, and we define our community very broadly, both our local community but also the national community. Media spans the globe and spans the nation, and educating consumers of media about its effects make a difference wherever the students of media literacy live.
This philosophy aligns with Media Literacy Project's curricula and training programs, which have inspired thousands of educators to incorporate media literacy in their classrooms.
Media Literacy Project believes that our communities deserve equal access to a 21st century education. And media literacy is what makes a 21st century education. Many, many years ago, we only had books, and people created ways to understand books, understand literature, be able to deconstruct those. We need to apply those same skills to all of the media that we interact with. And so Media Literacy Project said, well, we need to start that conversation in the schools, in today's schools. So we worked with Representative Mo Maestas. We partnered with many of our local community organizations that are our friends and allies, and we spent a day at the Roundhouse in 2009 where we had students present, teachers came out, community members lined up. We had other legislators speaking in support of our media literacy bill.
Media Literacy Project's involvement in campaigns ensure that New Mexico communities are heard by state decision makers and have a voice in national media policy debates that impact our communities.
We had a production called From Schoolhouse to Jailhouse. We partnered with Roadside Theater and other community partners to address the high rates of prison phone calls.
The United States of America has the highest incarceration rate in the world. There are more than 6 million people under correctional supervision. 6 million people. The U.S. rate of incarceration is 10 times that of any other industrialized country.
As a federally recognized consumer advocate and advocate for all families, we joined a national movement to connect inmates to their families and connect inmate families to each other. New Mexico Kites was born to give New Mexico families a safe and accessible space to communicate through media.
To fly a kite means to send a message. The more they hear from us in there, the less likely they are to go back. The more we hear each other's stories out here, the more likely it is for us to have the strength to keep going in there.
Women and their stories are historically underrepresented and misrepresented in media. One of Media Literacy Project's most successful programs, Girl Tech, transforms young women of color into filmmakers, since we believe that creating media is the most direct route to achieving media justice.
I'm just really privileged to be part of the Girl Tech Collective program. And I'm really interested in programs like Girl Tech because I grew up with media. Media can really liberate us and make us feel less isolated and connected in very new ways. And so I want my community to be able to tell their stories.
Consistent with Media Literacy Project's objective to equip New Mexico's underserved and marginalized communities with the skills and tools to accurately represent themselves in media, Girl Tech teaches young women to change media by making media.
The spirit of media literacy, to go into the communities and influence the communities, is probably the most valuable tool we have for our democracy that's left.
Media Literacy Project's ability to move policy on a national level and move people on a local level is rooted in its connection to organizational partners and community members in New Mexico.
I'm 16 and today I'm here representing KMM Youth Radio and students of color in Albuquerque. Today we are uniting with the campaign Show Love for Broadband because we strongly believe in the need to connect our communities.
We're part of a national network called Media Action Grassroots Network.
We also have more than 14 local partners, and all of our volunteers and sustainers have been very helpful and supportive.
All of Media Literacy Project's work, from programs and presentations to campaigns and policy, is rooted in media analysis.
Deconstruction is where everything starts for us at Media Literacy Project. That's the beginning of all of our work, is that ability for individuals, for people, for communities to be able to analyze a media message.
Our offering of educational resources and curricula is the result of a culture of media critique and love of media. Our staff spends countless hours reviewing media examples because all advocacy begins with awareness.
If change continues the way it's going right now, the difference in the media literacy landscape from 20 years ago to today will be vastly surpassed by the difference between today and 20 years from now. So predicting where it's going to go, that's very difficult.
Although the media have changed dramatically in the last 20 years, Media Literacy Project has kept up with the pace. We've been right alongside shifting and changing as new media enters into our realm. At the same time, we're remaining true to our mission. We're remaining true to the basic key principles of media literacy. So we know that all media have a certain bias to them. There's a certain perspective to expect. We know whose interests are at stake. And so how do we understand the systems? How do we look at policy? How does that also impact our communities?
As media continuously evolves, our communities are faced with a choice. We can choose to shape the media to meet our needs, or we can let the media shape us.
As we move forward into the future, Media Literacy Project will continue to create critical media consumers and engaged media justice advocates. Regardless of the shifting media landscape, we know that we will always make sure that our communities can access media, analyze media, and create media.